And our next story is about former Nissan chairman who filed a lawsuit against the car maker.
Nissan CEO strikes back after huge criticism. Everything seemed to be falling apart for Nissan. Sales were plummeting, dealerships were overflowing with unsold cars, and critics were tearing into the company's leadership. But just when it looked like the end was near, the CEO did something that no one saw coming. What was the bold move that turned everything around? How did a company on the brink of irrelevance rise to challenge its competitors? And most importantly, what does this transformation mean for the future of Nissan and the entire automotive industry? The backlash against Nissan's leadership. The automotive world isn't exactly known for its patience, and the storm brewing at Nissan is a testament to that. It all began with a series of decisions made by the company's CEO, Makoto Uchida, decisions that sparked outrage from both industry insiders and loyal Nissan customers. The tipping point came when Nissan announced price increases across multiple popular models, even as competitors like Toyota and Hyundai were introducing more affordable alternatives. Critics slammed this move as tone deaf, especially given the economic pressures consumers were facing, such as rising interest rates and inflation. Nissan's timing seemed off, and the backlash was immediate. The decision didn't exist in isolation. It followed years of what many described as uninspired leadership. Loyal customers who had once championed Nissan for its reliability and innovation began turning to rival brands, citing a lack of exciting new features and disappointing product quality. The sentiment was reflected in sales numbers, which had steadily declined year after year, particularly in markets like the United States, where mid-size SUVs and sedans were losing ground to flashier and more fuel-efficient competitors. On social media, frustrated customers vented their anger. "Why should we pay more for a car that hasn't changed in years?" asked one Twitter user, summing up the mood of many. Industry analysts were quick to pile on, labeling Nissan as a company stuck in the past. The media, always eager for a juicy story, latched onto the controversy, turning the heat up on the company's leadership. But was this criticism entirely fair, or was there more to the story than met the eye? What critics are saying. The critics didn't hold back, and their arguments carried weight. On one side, industry experts pointed to the company's slipping market share, comparing its trajectory to that of other automotive giants. Over the last 5 years, Nissan has fallen from being a dominant global player to merely keeping pace with industry benchmarks. The failure wasn't just about numbers, it was about perception. Competitors like Tesla were defining the future of driving with electric vehicles that captured the public imagination, while Nissan's once groundbreaking Leaf felt dated. Customers complained about the lack of updates to the Leaf, with some joking that it was left in the garage while Tesla drove past. Dealers, the backbone of any automotive company, were also voicing their frustration. Many found themselves saddled with inventory they couldn't move. Rows of unsold cars lined dealership lots, a stark contrast to the vibrant sales floors of years past. "It's like they're not even trying to support us," lamented one dealer in California, who described the lack of promotional efforts from Nissan's corporate team. Even within the company, voices of dissent were growing louder. Engineers and designers spoke of cost-cutting measures that stifled creativity, while marketing teams complained about outdated strategies that failed to capture younger buyers' attention. The question on everyone's mind was simple: where was the leadership? Yet, beneath the noise of the critics lay a CEO who wasn't ready to back down. What happened next caught everyone by surprise. The state of Nissan before the CEO's response. To understand the gravity of the situation, it's important to take stock of where Nissan stood before the CEO's bold response. The numbers painted a worrying picture. In the last fiscal year alone, Nissan's global sales had dropped by double digits. Its flagship models like the Rogue and Altima were losing market share to rivals offering more advanced technology and better fuel efficiency. In the United States, one of Nissan's largest markets, the situation was particularly dire. The company had once been a leader in the midsize SUV segment, but newer entries from Toyota and Honda were dominating. Even Hyundai and Kia, brands traditionally seen as challengers, were now outpacing Nissan in innovation and customer satisfaction. The electric vehicle market, where Nissan had once been a pioneer, was another sore spot. The Leaf, which had once symbolized the future of driving, was now an afterthought in a field crowded with high-performing, longer-range options from brands like Tesla, Ford, and even Volkswagen. Nissan's inability to build on the Leaf's initial success was a glaring missed opportunity opportunity, one that analysts were quick to highlight. Internally, the company was grappling with more than just market challenges. Employees described a culture of uncertainty, with many feeling disconnected from the leadership's vision, or lack thereof. Supply chain disruptions and rising production costs only added to the strain, creating a perfect storm of challenges for Nissan to navigate. As the dust settled, the CEO made a bold move to regain control, one that no one expected: the rising tensions within Nissan. Behind closed doors, the atmosphere at Nissan headquarters was tense. Dealers were demanding answers, employees were growing restless, and shareholders were losing patience. The criticism wasn't just external, it was coming from every corner of the company's ecosystem. Dealers in particular were vocal about their concerns. Many felt abandoned, left to grapple with overflowing lots of unsold inventory without adequate support from the corporate team. Promotional campaigns were few and far between, leaving dealers to rely on their own limited resources to drive sales. "It feels like we're fighting a losing battle," said one dealership owner in Texas. The internal tensions extended to Nissan's workforce. Engineers spoke of canceled projects and scaled back budgets that hampered innovation. Designers, once eager to push boundaries, felt constrained by cost-cutting measures that prioritized short-term savings over long-term growth. Even the marketing department, which should have been at the forefront of reinvigorating the brand, struggled with outdated strategies that failed to resonate with a younger, tech-savvy audience. Then there were the shareholders. With each passing quarter, the pressure on Nissan's CEO grew more intense. Investors wanted results, and they wanted them fast. The CEO, however, knew that a quick fix wasn't the answer. What Nissan needed was a comprehensive strategy to address its challenges head-on and set the stage for a sustainable future. What exactly did the CEO do to silence critics? The CEO's bold counterattack. As the criticism reached a fever pitch, the industry held its breath, waiting for a response from Nissan's embattled CEO. Makoto Uchida wasn't one to shy away from a challenge, and when he finally broke his silence, it wasn't with apologies, it was with a bold, game-changing announcement that sent shockwaves through the automotive world. At a globally streamed press event, Uchida unveiled what he called Nissan's path to reinvention, a comprehensive strategy to address the company's struggles while setting it on a course for future success. The plan was ambitious, encompassing everything from product innovation to revamped marketing strategies and dealership support programs. The centerpiece of this announcement was Nissan's commitment to becoming a leader in electric vehicles once again. The company revealed plans for a new lineup of EVs, each designed with cutting-edge technology, extended range, and sleek designs that rivaled even the most innovative offerings from Tesla and other competitors. "Nissan was a pioneer in the EV space," Uchida said confidently, "and we're here to reclaim that position." But the announcement wasn't just about electric vehicles. Makoto Uchida also promised significant investments in Nissan's traditional lineup, introducing hybrid models for popular vehicles like the Rogue and Altima. The goal was clear: to meet consumers where they were, whether they were ready to make the leap to electric or still preferred the reliability of gas-powered vehicles. But would these promises be enough to win back customers, or were they just another flashy announcement with little substance? Revamping Nissan's product lineup. Central to the CEO's strategy was a dramatic overhaul of Nissan's product lineup. The company had been criticized for offering vehicles that felt outdated and uninspired, and Makoto Uchida knew this was a perception that had to change, and fast. The plan included an aggressive timeline for rolling out new models. Within the next 3 years, Nissan promised to launch at least 10 new vehicles, including 3 electric SUVs, 2 hybrid sedans, and a highly anticipated successor to the iconic Nissan Z sports car. This ambitious roadmap was backed by a multi-billion-dollar investment in research and development, signaling Nissan's commitment to staying competitive in a rapidly evolving market. One of the most talked about announcements was the reveal of the Nissan Evolve, a fully electric SUV designed to rival the Tesla Model Y. The Evolve boasted a range of over 350 miles on a single charge, advanced driver assistance features, and a futuristic design that turned heads even in its concept phase. Another standout was the hybrid version of the Rogue, which combined fuel efficiency with the practicality that had made it one of Nissan's best-selling models. By offering a hybrid option, Nissan aimed to appeal to environmentally conscious buyers who weren't quite ready to transition to a fully electric vehicle. While these announcements sparked excitement, they also raised questions about whether Nissan could deliver on such an ambitious timeline. A new vision for the brand. With new products in the pipeline, Makoto Uchida turned his attention to redefining Nissan's brand identity. The company had long been associated with reliability and affordability, but those qualities alone weren't enough to stand out in today's competitive landscape. Nissan needed to be seen as innovative, forward-thinking, and most importantly, exciting. The rebranding effort began with a sleek new logo and tagline, Nissan, driving tomorrow. This wasn't just a marketing gimmick, it was a statement of intent. Makoto Uchida emphasized that Nissan's focus would be on creating vehicles that not only met the practical needs of consumers, but also inspired a sense of adventure and possibility. A key component of this rebranding was a focus on sustainability. In addition to expanding its EV lineup, Nissan pledged to achieve carbon neutrality across its operations by the year 2040. This included transitioning its manufacturing plants to renewable energy, reducing waste, and using more sustainable materials in its vehicles. The company also launched a series of high-profile marketing campaigns aimed at younger audiences. Social media influencers were brought on board to showcase Nissan's new models, while interactive online experiences allowed potential customers to explore vehicles in virtual showrooms. These efforts were designed to make Nissan feel fresh and relevant to a new generation of buyers. But rebranding alone wouldn't be enough to silence critics. Challenges along the way. As bold as the CEO's strategy was, it wasn't without its hurdles. For starters, the timeline for rolling out new vehicles was extremely tight, and Nissan's production capabilities were already stretched thin due to ongoing supply chain issues. The global semiconductor shortage, which had plagued the automotive industry for years, showed no signs of easing, and this posed a significant challenge to Nissan's ambitious plans. Then there were the financial implications. While Nissan's multi-billion-dollar investment in R&D was necessary to compete, it also put significant pressure on the company's bottom line. Shareholders, who had already endured years of declining returns, were understandably skeptical about whether this gamble would pay off. Internally, there was resistance to some of the changes Makoto Uchida was pushing. Longtime employees and dealers were wary of the shift toward electric vehicles, arguing that the company risked alienating its core customer base. This sentiment was particularly strong in regions where gas-powered trucks and SUVs were still king, such as the United States. Finally, there was the challenge of winning back public trust. Critics pointed out that Nissan had made bold promises before, such as the Leaf's dominance in the EV market, but had failed to follow through. This history of unfulfilled expectations loomed over the company's efforts, casting doubt on whether this time would be any different. Despite these challenges, Makoto Uchida remained steadfast in his vision for Nissan. The first signs of change. It didn't take long for the first ripples of Nissan's transformation to become evident. The initial reactions to Makoto Uchida's bold strategies were mixed, but as the dust began to settle, some encouraging signs of change emerged. One of the first indicators came from Nissan's dealers, many of whom had been among the loudest critics of the company's previous strategies. Reports of increased foot traffic at dealerships began trickling in, with some locations even struggling to keep up with customer inquiries about the upcoming lineup. The excitement surrounding models like the Nissan Evolve, the fully electric SUV revealed in Makoto Uchida's announcement, was palpable. Social media was another early sign of progress. The company's marketing efforts, which had previously been criticized as outdated, were now generating significant buzz. Hashtags like Nissan Evolve and Driving Tomorrow began trending as potential customers shared their enthusiasm for the brand's new direction. This marked a stark contrast to the negative sentiment that had dominated online conversations about Nissan just months earlier. But it wasn't just about optics. On the production side, Nissan managed to hit its first major milestone by unveiling prototypes of 3 of its upcoming models, including the highly anticipated hybrid Rogue. These prototypes were met with mostly positive reviews from automotive journalists, who praised the company's efforts to combine sustainability with performance. While these early signs of change were promising, they also raised questions about whether Nissan could sustain this momentum. Dealer and employee reactions. As Nissan's new vision began to take shape, the company's internal stakeholders, dealers, and employees played a crucial role in determining its success. For dealers, the introduction of a refreshed product lineup was a welcome relief after years of stagnation. Many described the new models as exactly what they needed to re-engage customers who had grown disenchanted with the brand. I've been selling Nissans for over 15 years, and this is the most excited I've seen customers in a long time, said one dealer in Florida. The new EVs are a game changer. People are finally coming in and asking about Nissan again. However, the optimism wasn't universal. Some dealers expressed concerns about the logistical challenges of selling electric vehicles, particularly in regions where EV infrastructure was still lacking. It's great to have these innovative cars, but if customers don't have enough charging stations nearby, it's going to be a tough sell, admitted a dealer in rural Texas. Employees also had mixed reactions. On one hand, many were inspired by Makoto Uchida's bold leadership and felt reinvigorated by the company's renewed focus on innovation. Engineers and designers in particular were excited about the increased investment in R&D, which allowed them to push boundaries and explore new ideas. On the other hand, there were those who remained skeptical. Some employees worried that the rapid pace of change might lead to burnout, while others questioned whether the company could truly achieve its ambitious goals without overextending itself. Competitors' responses. The automotive industry is nothing if not competitive, and Nissan's resurgence didn't go unnoticed by its rivals. Companies like Toyota, Ford, and Tesla were quick to respond to Makoto Uchida's bold strategies, each determined to maintain their own positions of strength in the market. Toyota, for example, doubled down on its hybrid and hydrogen fuel cell technology, positioning itself as a leader in alternative fuel solutions. The company's marketing campaigns highlighted the reliability and efficiency of its hybrid lineup, contrasting it with what it framed as Nissan's all-in gamble on EVs. Ford, meanwhile, ramped up production of its popular electric vehicles, including the Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning, in a bid to outpace Nissan in the EV race. The company also introduced aggressive pricing strategies, offering discounts and incentives that made its EVs more accessible to a wider range of customers. Tesla, as expected, remained focused on maintaining its dominance in the EV market. The company unveiled updates to its Model Y and Model 3, emphasizing their superior range and autonomous driving capabilities. Tesla CEO Elon Musk even took to social media to downplay Nissan's resurgence, sarcastically tweeting, "Nice to see Nissan joining the party. Better late than never." Despite these challenges, Nissan's leadership remained undeterred. Makoto Uchida emphasized that the company's focus wasn't on outdoing its competitors in the short term, but on building a sustainable future for the brand. "We're not in a race," he said during a recent interview. "We're on a journey, and we're just getting started." This long-term perspective was critical, but it also meant that Nissan needed to address some immediate challenges if it wanted to maintain its momentum. Overcoming skepticism. Despite the progress Nissan had made, skepticism about its future remained. Critics pointed to the company's history of unfulfilled promises and questioned whether it could truly deliver on its latest vision. Some industry analysts speculated that the company's aggressive timeline for rolling out new models was overly ambitious, while others expressed concerns about its ability to compete with more established players in the EV market. To counter this skepticism, Makoto Uchida doubled down on transparency. The company began publishing regular updates on the progress of its initiatives, including detailed reports on its R&D efforts and production timelines. This openness helped build trust with stakeholders and demonstrated Nissan's commitment to accountability. While transparency helped mitigate some concerns, the true test of Nissan's transformation was yet to come. The road ahead. Despite the positive momentum generated by Nissan's transformation, not everyone was convinced the company's new direction would lead to long-term success. Critics, including some industry veterans and analysts, questioned whether Nissan could truly sustain its newfound energy, or if this was merely a temporary resurgence. One major point of contention was the company's heavy reliance on electric vehicles. While EVs were undoubtedly the future of the automotive industry, skeptics argued that Nissan's timeline for fully electrifying its lineup was overly ambitious. They pointed to the lingering challenges of EV adoption, such as inadequate charging infrastructure in certain regions and the high costs of battery production, as potential barriers to success. Another criticism revolved around Nissan's handling of its traditional lineup. While models like the hybrid Rogue had been well received, some felt the company wasn't doing enough to preserve the legacy of its iconic vehicles. Enthusiasts lamented the gradual phasing out of the internal combustion engine, particularly in high-performance models like the Nissan Z and GT-R. Internally, there were still concerns about the pace of change. Employees and dealers acknowledged the progress that had been made, but warned that the pressure to meet deadlines and targets was taking a toll. "We're proud of what we've accomplished so far," said one engineer, "but it's exhausting trying to keep up with the demands of this new strategy." These lingering criticisms posed significant challenges, but Nissan's leadership remained steadfast in its vision for the future. Long-term goals and innovations. At the heart of Nissan's strategy was a commitment to innovation, not just in terms of products, but also in the way the company approached its operations and customer relationships. Makoto Uchida had made it clear that Nissan's resurgence wasn't just about surviving, it was about leading the automotive industry into a new era. One of the most ambitious components of this vision was the development of solid-state battery technology. Unlike traditional lithium-ion batteries, solid-state batteries promise faster charging times, longer ranges, and improved safety. Nissan announced plans to build a dedicated facility for researching and producing these next-generation batteries, positioning itself as a leader in the EV space. In addition to advancing battery technology, Nissan also unveiled plans for autonomous driving systems. These systems, which would be integrated into both EVs and traditional vehicles, aim to enhance safety and convenience for drivers. The company's goal was to make semi-autonomous driving features standard across its entire lineup by the year 2030. Beyond technology, Nissan focused on sustainability as a core pillar of its long-term strategy. This included using recycled materials in vehicle production, reducing waste at manufacturing plants, and partnering with renewable energy providers to power its facilities. The company also committed to achieving carbon neutrality by the year 2040, a goal that would require significant investments in green technologies. While these innovations laid the groundwork for Nissan's future, they also came with significant challenges and sacrifices. Sacrifices made along the way. The journey to transform Nissan wasn't without its costs. As the company worked to implement its ambitious plans, it faced difficult decisions that affected employees, dealers, and customers alike. One of the most controversial moves was the decision to close several manufacturing plants in underperforming markets. While this helped Nissan cut costs and streamline its operations, it also led to layoffs that sparked criticism from labor unions and local governments. For many, these closures were a painful reminder of the sacrifices required to keep the company afloat. Another tough decision was the discontinuation of certain vehicle models. While the focus on EVs and hybrids was necessary for Nissan's future, it meant saying goodbye to some beloved cars. The decision to phase out the internal combustion engine version of the Nissan Z, for example, was met with disappointment from enthusiasts who cherished the vehicle's performance and legacy. Dealers too felt the impact of these changes. While the new lineup was attracting more customers, the shift toward EVs required significant investments in charging infrastructure and staff training. Many smaller dealerships struggled to keep up with these demands, leading to concerns about their long-term viability. Despite these challenges, Makoto Uchida defended the decisions, emphasizing that they were necessary for Nissan's survival and growth. Transformation requires tough choices, he said in a press conference, but these sacrifices will ensure that Nissan remains a leader in the automotive industry for generations to come. As Nissan navigated these sacrifices, the company began to focus on solidifying its legacy and positioning itself as a trailblazer for the future. Nissan's legacy. As Nissan entered the next phase of its transformation, it became clear that Makoto Uchida's leadership had left an indelible mark on the company. Under his guidance, Nissan had gone from a brand struggling to stay relevant to one that was redefining the automotive landscape. The CEO's approach to leadership was characterized by a willingness to take risks and a focus on long-term goals. While his decisions weren't always popular, they were undeniably effective in repositioning Nissan as a forward-thinking, innovative brand. Nissan's renewed focus on sustainability, technology, and customer engagement had not only revitalized the company's image, but also set a new standard for the industry. The introduction of models like the Nissan Evolve and the hybrid Rogue demonstrated that it was possible to combine innovation with accessibility, appealing to a broad range of customers. But Uchida's impact extended beyond the products themselves. His emphasis on transparency and accountability helped rebuild trust with stakeholders, while his efforts to empower employees and dealers created a sense of unity within the company. As Makoto Uchida reflected on his tenure, he acknowledged the challenges that lay ahead, but expressed confidence in Nissan's ability to navigate them. "This is just the beginning," he said during a recent interview. "Nissan's story is one of resilience and reinvention, and I'm proud to be a part of it." So what do you think about Nissan's transformation under Ushida's leadership? Share your thoughts in the comments below.